Guerrillas, and I'm alive. Oh, let's see. Am I alive? Oh, somebody tell me. Am I getting any signal? What is going on here? Oh, who's speaking? Well, hello, my baby gorillas. Oh, I'm alive. Oh, let's. Oh, here we go. Here we go. What's my sound and everything like? Let's just check on the. Let's have a look at it this way. Wait, am I getting any signal? What is going on here? That's a bit of a weird thing, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Well, hello, my baby gorillas. Oh, I'm alive. Oh, let's. Oh, here we go. Here we are. There, I'm a bit bigger here. What's my sound and everything like? Oh, let's just check. Here we go. Looking smart. Let's have a look at it this way. Wait, am I getting any signal? What is going on here? Real that's a weird thing. Oh my goodness. Well, hello, my baby gorillas. I'm alive. Oh, let's. Oh, here we go. Here we are. Oh, there we go. We're in. How we did. So, we're getting closer to sorting out the sound. I've spent a bit of money on you guys because you're well worth it. And my baby gorillas, anything for my baby gorillas. And it's not going to be done just now. It's not going to be done just right at this moment, but it'll be happening over the next couple of days. So I hope I'm coming through loud and clear. I hear string starting to echo. It's starting to echo again. So don't worry about that, guys. We're going to sort that out. That's all in the pipeline. So all right now, is it okay? That's great, bud. So that's all going to be sorted out. And thanks very much for sending me emails, guys. I really appreciate it. Absolutely fantastic. I like your personal emails. If you want to get a hold of me, guerillatvchannel@gmail.com. So if you send me emails, I read them. I make my report short. She aren't going to resign, found not guilty. I'll come back to that as well. Echo gone, not now. Well, I've got a new mic coming. The sound card, I think, is working better. I think we've got everything working better there. It's not on just now. I'm waiting for the new mic. I've got a new cable, top-notch cable coming. So I'm trying to sort everything out, top-notch everything. And we will make sure that the sound, I've been looking at what the potential echoes are, and I've changed things on the system to perfect not only the visuals but also what's actually happening with let me just pop this out with the live stream. So I'm trying to increasingly improve the quality of the live stream to the extent where behind here will be a green or blue screen, and we'll be able to project things on it, and we'll be able to do all sorts of interesting things. I'll just be a silhouette. So absolutely brilliant. Hi guys, how are we all doing? Thanks for tuning in. Don't worry, I've been found not guilty. It wasn't me. Let's have a look at this character. So you shouldn't be voting for anybody other than UK Reform Party or the Scottish Libertarian Party. If you have to, at a push, I would vote Conservative. Don't vote Labour. Don't vote Liberal. Don't vote Green. Don't vote SNP. Don't vote for the Liberal, undemocratic Democrats. Get them out. They're all numpties. So let's have a look at this guy. I think this guy is a parliamentarian. I'm sure this is the guy that voted for the hate speech bill. So if you're voting for this guy, he needs to get slummed. I don't know that for a fact. Adam Tompkins, I think it was. I'm nearly 100% sure. He's from the Glasgow region. He voted for the hate speech bill, I'm sure. So he needs to go.
We've been told on many occasions that Scotland has become this kind of one-party state.
This is Talk Radio. Thanks very much, Mr. Talk Radio. I like this guy, Nick Ferrari. I think that's what's his name.
Even the committee that's been looking at all of these things was split down political party lines. The SNP siding with Nicola Sturgeon and everybody else siding against her. You know, what happens now?
Well, what happens now is the Scottish Conservatives have put down a motion of no confidence in the First Minister, and that motion...
Well, the vote of no confidence will not be passed. So they won't actually pass the vote of no confidence. So they will succeed because the Greens, because they're like the Village Idiots party, Rees-Mogg and the Marxists, People call them the SNP gardening branch, or you could call them just the watermelons because they're green on the outside and Marxist on the inside. Whatever derogatory term you want. I like to think of the Green Convention like the Village Idiots Convention. So they're a real bunch of dum-dums.
The motion will be debated this afternoon in the Scottish Parliament. The debate will be led by Ruth Davidson, of course, and then later on this afternoon there'll be a vote on that motion. And we already know, I'm afraid, that Sturgeon is going to win that vote because her lackeys, the Green Party, are going to back her, notwithstanding the fact that she has been found today by an all-party committee of the Scottish Parliament to have misled Parliament. She misled Parliament about what she knew.
Well, she misled Parliament. She should be resigning. Simple as that. There should be no ambiguity in the fact that she's misled Parliament. She should be resigning.
And when she knew it about the complaints against...
Oh, we know that there's been a massive cover-up here to protect Nicola Sturgeon anyway. So, and it's obvious to the public now. It's not just internal. Sometimes these matters can be brushed over if it's only the parliamentarians that know it, both in Westminster and in Scotland. But the public know this, and I think we're all absolutely dismayed by what we've actually seen.
Alex Hammond, and what we have seen over the course of the last... I mean, this thing has been going on now for more than 2.5 years, and what we know is that the SNP have run a government that bullies staff, that silences dissent, that withholds evidence not only from parliamentary committees but from judicial review hearings and court,
acting like a bunch of tin pot dictators,
from their own lawyers. Indeed, this is a government with no separation of powers. This is a government out.
Yeah, but that's a mistake by the what was then the Labour Party, who didn't provide parliamentary privilege or separation of powers. That was the Labour Party wanted to set up some sort of neo-communist totalitarian regime in Scotland.
Of control. This is a government that is corrupt from top to bottom, and yet they're going to survive the motion of no confidence this afternoon because they have the numbers in the Scottish Parliament, and that's why we're going back to the country in May to try and see if we can do something about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, honestly. Let's have a wee look. SNP polling fact check. So, no. So, Guido Fawkes are great. I just nicked their what do you call it? Their photograph to put on this live stream. So that's I nicked it from Guido Fawkes. So sorry, Guido. Great publication. You should subscribe to Guido Fawkes as well. Great bunch of guys. So let's have a wee look. Oh, there's George. George is following me now. That's good, man. So let's have a wee look at me. What we put up here. Oh, there's that guy Adam Smith. Oh, that's the guy that interfered. Peter Adam Smith. There he is. There. There he is. Wee bodgers. Don't ever interfere in one of my interviews again, or next time you're doing an interview for ITV News, I'll jump all over yours. Do you understand? I think that's quite nice of me, quite restrained. So, what else have we got? There's tons of stuff coming up here. It's thick and fast. My pal James Matthews from Sky News, fantastic guy. Full Holyrood inquiry report on Salmond affair is clearly a substantial piece of work. Those who say a few leaks have destroyed the credibility of the exercise are destroying their own credibility with the hype. That's Tom Gordon, very good journalist as well. ITV, that's about the guys that like to interfere in other people's interviews. Oh, here we go. Listen, let's hear him.
But rather the gateway. It's been about getting the governments we vote for and holding them to account. It's about making Scotland the most liberal, socially progressive country in Europe.
Illiberal, and progressive just means Marxist. So let's stop calling progressives anything other than what they are, which is Marxist. Marxist. That's what they are. So let's stop using the word progressive.
It's about honouring our old people and giving the best start in life to the young.
Yeah,
it's
well,
about
we already know the amount of deaths in care homes thanks to the Conservative, the SNP.
beacon of democracy and freedom.
Yeah, that's obviously quite clearly a joke. For North Korea, maybe.
The country's yearning for both. An independent Scotland would
It would resemble North Korea.
not have gone to war in Iraq. It wouldn't have bombed the Syrians or supplied weapons to the Saudis. An independent Scotland wouldn't have nuclear weapons. Tory members sometimes tell me privately that they know independence is inevitable, and I agree with them. However, Canute-like, they think that waves of policy-free, angry election leaflets will stem the tide. It won't. So what should we make of the campaign to stop a referendum? Please, no more of the once-in-a-generation baloney. Boris Johnson said that the last general election was a once-in-a-generation election. I doubt he meant that there would be no more general elections. Young people who missed out on voting in 2014 are now in their 20s and hungry to shape their future. Attempting to stifle their voices shows nothing but fear. I understand.
I think you're trying to stifle my voice. I think that's the voice you're trying to stifle. Obviously, having been around the block a couple of times and not in my early 20s anymore. In fact, nearly lived 2.5 times somebody in their 20s. So, with plenty of experience to outwit all of you guys.
People who feel unionist. I don't, however, understand those who want to impose their unionism in defiance of Scotland's Parliament.
I'm not against independence, but the fact is that I don't want it to resemble North Korea with all you characters. So, what else have we got? I think I put some stuff. Have I put other stuff? Wee Nippy. What have we got here? Oh, here we go. PA Media. Salmon complaint women were dropped after he won the legal challenge by Craig Payton, PA Scotland reporter, 34 minutes ago. So this is on the about 1 o'clock or 1 o'clock on the 23rd of March 2021. The women who made the complaints of harassment against Alex Salmond have said they felt they were dropped by the Scottish Government after they conceded the judicial review. You've served a purpose now, ladies, now beat it. Alex Salmond was accused of harassing 2 women, but a legal challenge found the investigation into him to be unlawful. Andrew Milligan, PA. Complainers referred to as Miss A and Miss B appeared before the Committee on the Scottish Government Handling of Harassment Complaints, which produced its final report on Tuesday. The women, who on Sunday announced they would make a formal complaint after a leak of proportions of their evidence to a newspaper, said they believed the initial handling of the complaint had been damaging to the possibility of other women coming forward. They also said they had not received any support from the Scottish Government after it conceded the legal challenge brought by Mr. Salmond, which found that the process was tainted with apparent bias and awarded Mr. Salmond £512,000, or orchestrated. Let's just say it could be said another way. Let's say it could be said orchestrated. Maybe not. Maybe that's just allegations. Because she's been found not guilty of anything that's done wrong. Oh, she's totally innocent. Quoted in the committee report, one of the complainers told the committee, I was quite taken aback by the lack of contact and support from the Scottish Government after collusions of its process. We were given regular updates over the period of judicial review, but after that, we were basically just dropped. We went through the entirety of the police investigation and criminal trial with next to no contact from the Scottish Government, let alone any kind of support. There might be good reasons for that, but I certainly expect something, given that the government initiated the police referral and given the duty of care for us as staff members or former staff members, which the government had placed a lot of emphasis on during the process. Yeah, they're all connected. No, what's going on here? What's this guy? Who's this guy? No, that's Joe Biden. What's going on? I was quite taken aback because it felt as though we were left to swim. The women also told the committee they hope to create a precedence of women coming forward to make complaints. I think we have to have a balance here, and there has to be protection of the man if these are false complaints as well, or the woman, whoever's being complained against. But they fear the handling of the complaints may have hampered that. I was really hoping that if you raised a complaint, you would be helping to set a healthy precedence that anybody can make any complaints against anything. Actually, no minister is exempt from standards and policies that should, unless you're Nicola Sturgeon, and then she's exempt. She's exempt. If she's orchestrating things, she's allowed. She's exempt from doing anything like that. Nice suit, Davey. Thank you very much. Thank you. I want to cut about like you. Oh, good man. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Regressive. Thank you. Has Satan's daughter. Satan's daughter. Had all clear. Or is she going to get the jail? We're not sure yet. That's rubbish, Adam Smith. That's the rubbish, Adam Smith. Yeah. That's good. Adam Smith would be spinning in his grave. That's right, buddy. He would. Poor Adam. Adam's the best. Adam Smith, regressive. An independent Scotland under the SNP. No, it would just inflict force and violence on its own people. That's correct, buddy. It's correct, John. Nice suit, Davey. Thanks. It's great. The pinned it. Yeah. It's great tie pin. Oh, thanks very much. Quite like it myself. I like a gold one now. This actually came with the ties. These are absolutely beautiful ties. It's absolutely classic. Love the ties. We should all cut about like David. It's would be amazing. The SNP would go daft. Even where I'm going to get T-shirts done for you guys. T-shirts, and that'll really send them into. I'm going to get really good Guerilla TV quality stuff that I would wear as well. Yeah, we're going to get good stuff for you guys soon. I'll get the merch set up soon. I've just been. I've not been well. I'm going to the hospital. About my problems. So sorry about the other day as well for letting you guys down. Time to drain the swamp. Yeah, that's right, Jimmy. So let's continue with this. No minister is exempt from the standards and policies that should be regulated appropriate behaviour. She said, I would hope that you would bring forward complaints against even the most powerful people. They will be taken seriously, and that through that precedence, a culture can be built that makes people feel that things are possible. Unfortunately, I suspect that has been hindered rather than helped by the way how things have developed. Witnesses told the committee that even with the most perfect procedure, there still needs to be a culture in an organisation enabling prospective complainers to use it. But there has to be something if people are making false claims. There has to be something if, say for instance, I made a claim against somebody and it was a lie and it wasn't true. That person who made the lie has to be punished and lose the job and whatever. If somebody's exaggerating or making false allegations, they have to be punished. They said it has been difficult throughout the process to have from the various parties' press release and social media posts the impact on us in relation to our motivations for coming forward and our involvement with the party of government. In future, I want a bit of a moratorium on party politics when it comes to dealing with these matters. Yeah, and I would like protections for people who are falsely accused of things. That's important as well. They've got rights. They should have rights as well. People who are bringing forward false allegations should be held accountable. Let's see, Fat Andy. Where's Fat Andy's stuff? There's Jamesy Boy, Jamesy Matthews, Scottish Liberal Democrats. James Hamilton does not give Nicola Sturgeon clean bill of health. In response to the publication of James Hamilton's report, the leader of the Scottish Liberal Undemocratic Democrats, Willie Rennie, said the judgment from James Hamilton does not make the First Minister's resignation automatic, but no one can deny that her errors of judgment still make resignation a live consideration. That's correct. James Hamilton does not give the First Minister a clean bill of health. He says it is up to the Parliament to determine whether it has been misled over the health. This will go back to the Fabinini committee. So she's still on the hook. Minister Clean Bill of Health. He says it's up to the Parliament to determine if it has been misled over the help that the First Minister is said to have offered Alex Salmond in her home. Even the most ardent SNP supporter must recognise that the women involved were let down. Well, they've gone to court, so there was nothing criminal. So it must be, if Nicola Sturgeon's kept saying, oh, but it was something else, it wasn't criminal, but it was anything. So anything can be harassment now. If I speak in a specific way and somebody doesn't like it, that can be perceived as harassment. So anything can be harassment. So I would literally have to now tape every conversation. So there would have to be some sort of camera on my shoulder to tape the conversations to see if the person who's the complainer is a liar and somebody who's a manipulator and has to be punished. That's what has to happen now. I would have to tape, I would actually literally have to sit there and think, is this person going to make false allegations against me? We have to tape this to make sure that if I get in trouble for not even doing anything, being completely respectful as usual, that this person then has to be punished who made the false complaint and they have to be sent to jail. Hope you all agree. False allegations are terrible, are horrific, John. That's right. I'll get to Paul Hutchins later on. You are lucky to get an appointment, David. I know, it's really bad, mate. People are dying of cancer and all that. It's really bad. And the thing, and we've all been locked down. So the cure of being locked down in our houses is worse. Is making the cause is much less worse than being locked down and not being able to perform surgeries for people with cancer and all sorts of other things. None of these statistics of the deaths or suicides and other statistics are taken into consideration when they're actually making these sort of rather daft ideas, is it? So where are we? So they're still saying that these women are the victims even after they've gone through a legal process and they've been found and nobody has been found not guilty. They cost hundreds of thousands of pounds. So they are the government ran by daughters of Satan and beta males. That's it, mate. That's extensively it. The gay perversion and the way touching up 60 or trying to chat up 16-year-olds. I mean, I don't know if the 16-year-old was gay. The 16-year-old was gay, and he was 16, then that's certainly legal. But the fact is, if this Mackay was trying to bugger some heterosexual young boy, take him down that path, and the chief whip, I told you, the gay mafia, I've already put it up on the Guerilla TV channel. Wee Nippy covered up for the gay mafia. She knew about that long before, but she threw Alex Salmond to the wolves because she knew that was what she wanted to do. But she covered up for the people in the gay mafia that surround her, the chief whip down in London, which is a very powerful position. Derek Mackay, who for some strange reason people thought he was going to become Prime Minister. Aye, it's all beta males and daughters of Satan, that's right. The matters will be addressed by the committee tomorrow, which will need to be considered carefully. Let me be clear, no one will win from this ugly episode, certainly not Alex Salmond, who has been exposed for what he really is. Sorry? Alex Salmond's been found not guilty in 2 legal cases. So I would certainly be very careful in your wording, because that sounds like slander. Willie Rennie. I think I'm voting to join Russia. Yeah, or Poland, Polish friends as well. And I would just like to say, I was looking at the demographics, and we've got a big Indian support for the Guerilla TV channel. A lot of my Indian friends. I used to live with 5 Indian guys in Glasgow. I loved them very much. There was, and it's going out to Canada and Australia and America. So we've got big international fan base here from throughout the world. So I just want to thank all my baby gorillas from all over the world as well. Hi, Davy. Wee Nippy is a donut. She needs to go. It's an ugly thing, a whole thing. Yes, it certainly is, and dictatorial as well, authoritarian. Just look at the what's his name, Tam Laird from the Scottish Libertarian Party. He's a lovely fella as well. You like him? Oh, let's go this. Cleared but not in the clear. That's correct. Wee Nippy thought she was all bouncy. Oh, James Roach, Mr. Hamilton's found me innocent. Oh, great. You're not out of the clear. Nicola Sturgeon misled Parliament over the when she found out about the Scottish Government investigation in Alex Salmond. You see that they're not covering any of the other things. They covered that up. Covered up the Chief Whip. They covered up the other scandals that were happening about them. But Alex Salmond was thrown to the wolves. And he's the only one that's been thrown to the wolves. That should be made clear. There are other allegations out there. And none of these have been brought forward. My throat's getting a bit dry there, sorry guys. So, Nicola Sturgeon's integrity was flushed down the toilet months ago. Hamilton report has not vindicated Nicola Sturgeon. This is Fat Andy's mob. This is Fat Andy. The Hamilton, this is from the Spectator. I don't know why they don't put. Oh, there it is, Alistair Boddington. Oh, this is Alistair. When's that? Written 22nd. That's yesterday. The Hamilton report has not vindicated Nicola Sturgeon. Alistair Boddington. Let me first deal with the general confusion. Most Scots think that the Hamilton report published today deals with the question of whether. Now, Alistair Boddington, I should point out, is a lawyer and was a professor at Glasgow University in the law department. And we've covered Alistair before on the Guerilla TV channel. So, deals, come on. Deals with the question. I wish I had one of these wee scrolly knob things that could just scroll down easier. That's using the mouse. I wonder if I could get a wee scrolly knob. We'll have to try and source a wee scrolly knob so I can take it down easier. To deal with the question of whether the First Minister misled the Scottish Parliament when she told MSPs that the first time she knew about the sexual misconduct allegations against Alex Salmond, of which she was acquitted, not still found guilty, in a criminal court, was on the 2nd of April 2018. Only a view this is hardly a ringing endorsement of Nicola Sturgeon's reliability. It does no such thing. Instead, the report deals with a possible breach of the ministerial code by Nicola Sturgeon. Don't forget, we'll go and read another Spectator article in a minute. Don't forget that Nicola Sturgeon has got John Sweeney to contact Hamilton, the judge that was dealing with this, and we need an independent judicial review, not stipulated by who wee Nippy wants to get to head up the judge. I don't think the person that's under investigation should be appointing the judge that's doing the investigation. That seems to me absolutely crackers. So I would suggest that it should be the opposition parties who are appointing the judge, not the people that are being investigated. Another flaw in the separation of powers. If the government are being investigated, it should be the government that's appointing the judge. There's no such thing. Instead, the ministerial report deals with the possible breach of the ministerial code by Nicola Sturgeon on the question of whether she failed to feed back the terms of her various meetings with Alex Salmond and others between March and July 2018. Mr. Hamilton's 61-page report concludes that she is not guilty on that failure to feedback point on the more significant issue of her misleading Parliament. The verdict of the Holyrood Inquiry report, which has still not been published, will be determinative. The terms of James Hamilton's remit are vital to anyone assessing the value and significance of his report. An attempt to have the remit widened was desperately resisted by John Sweeney, remember said that, the Deputy First Minister, and he was refusing to give the Freedom of Information request between his correspondence and Hamilton's, who was investigating it, talking about a compromise and compromising the integrity of the judicial review. A recent request under the Freedom of Information, remember I just said that, Freedom of Information laws by a journalist, wasn't me, but it could have been me, to assess the emails between Mr. Sweeney and Mr. Hamilton on the request of the width of the remit was partially rejected by the Scottish Government on what appears to be highly doubtful grounds. It's probably correct to view that incident as just another aspect of the SNP's government's desperation to conceal the whole truth from the Scottish public. On the most important matters of the First Minister's explanation for her behaviour in respect of the meetings with Salmond on the 29th of March and the 2nd of April, Mr. Hamilton finds that his account is not possible. Paragraph 7.10. So Mr. Hamilton finds her account is not impossible. All right. So not impossible, but maybe not probable. Only view this. Only on any view, this is hardly a ringing endorsement of Nicola Sturgeon's reliability. So why Miss Sturgeon's obedient Anyway, with doubtless trumpet Mr. Hamilton's report as a clean sheet for the dear leader. I'm just calling her the dear leader now. Oh, I see the things I start. It's unbelievable. Everybody watches the Guerilla TV. I'm the dirty secret that they don't tell you. They all watch me. It's not just my baby gorillas that watch me and enjoy me. It's all the other big heavy hitters that watch it. What are we saying, guys? What's all my crew saying? Yeah, David, go get the point. False allegation, horrific, blah, blah, blah. I Putin can debate, but Uncle Joe too canny. Uncle Joe's weekend at Bernie's president can't even stand up. Hi, Davey, wee Nippy is a donut. China is aggressive to India. Yes, just now, poor India. Good guys over there. I must inform you, Davey. Good people in China as well. My best friend was Hong Kong Chinese when I was growing up. He was a great guy. Really cared about him. He was a nice guy. I informed you, David, that a great historic event happened on Saturday, 20th of March 2021 AD. The first ever Scottish mementical was held in Lark Hall, and the George and Dragon was it? Is that right? Is that fantastic? I'm from Stonehouse originally, so I'm very familiar with Lark Hall. What a glorious event held on that day. Did Alistair Boddington drink Boddingtons with a flake in it? I love Boddingtons. So it's great, and I love what's her face that did the Boddingtons thing. I would love to do a photo shoot with her. They should have got an Englishman to do it. Germany and Scotland are two countries which should never be allowed to govern themselves. Mate, it's you guys are voting for them. I haven't come forward. Well, I did come forward for as an MP, but I haven't come forward for the MSPs just now, and I will do that in future. But you get what you are given. If you don't go out and vote, or these people are very unstimulating to go and vote for. If I can get the Scottish people to come out and vote because I've got good policies, then hopefully we'll increase the number of people that can be bothered going out and voting for somebody, and we'll have a better Scotland. We can govern ourselves, as true, but we do have bad politicians in, and that's the issue we've got just now. We have had good politicians. I mean, Michael Forsyth, Murdo Fraser's a good politician. Jackie Brown, although I was having a wee laugh at today, is a good politician. We have got good politicians, some good politicians in there, but I would say probably 8% of them could leave, and certainly a number of the MPs could go as well. I don't think that is the best and brightest that we've got in Scotland. Sturgeon was quick to demand Henry Cleach's to resign. That's right. When he went, yeah, Henry's was completely mild comparative to this. Over 36 grand for expenses, but the 700 grand plus is not reasons to resign for her. Yeah. So I don't even think it's about that. I think it's much deeper than that. I mean, she's the fact that the whole process was unlawful in the first place should be resigning that issue that she's brought in. She won't resign. Of course she's not. She's going to go to the polls, and she's not going to get an overall majority because of this. And we're going to be stuck with these absolute idiots for another 4 or 5 years. Unfortunately, that'll give me time to do what I'm going to do, and then we'll have a credible alternative by the next Scottish election, if not the next Westminster election. Judge Dredd says 7 years in the Gove tubes for sending spicy memes. Yeah, screw them. We need to get rid of Stonehouse bypass, Davey. Is that right? The Stonehouse bypass. I've not been up for a wee while. I've not been in Lanarkshire for a wee while, so I'll come down and see you guys down there as well. That's great. Obviously, home from home down there. A lot of happy memories down in Stonehouse, and I grew up in Stonehouse. Then I moved to Bodwell, and then I came back to Stonehouse, and then I went back to Bodwell. So I've been back and forward to both that. So I'm a Lanarkshire hillbilly. So here we go. Let's see what the dear leader. Let's go back to this. A clean sheet for the dear leader. This is far from the truth. Indeed, the truth is something which has been conspicuous by its absence throughout this sorry saga. It may be a music hall joke that politicians misled, but the Stammen versus Sturgeon drama shows that how horribly true for us Scots that joke has become. Yeah, we're becoming like a tin pot dictatorship thanks to wee Nippy. So let's not kid on. So there's another good article as well. Mr. Boddington seems like a very intelligent man as well. I think he had interactions with her. Trust has been broken. She has misled Parliament. She is a liar. Some of these are who is to blame for this shambles? Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, here we go. Is that the Boddington one? That's for Alistair. So there's more. Sturgeon misled Holyrood Committee investigating salmon saga. The findings are separate from the legal report published on Monday and that found the First Minister did not breach the ministerial code. Here's my pal Jamesy boy, old Jamesy, young Jamesy. Holyrood Committee concerned the First Minister decided to proceed with the judicial review despite clear advice that it would likely fail. Oh my goodness. Well, that's a resigning issue there. Let's see what Jamesy boy said. Sky News, fantastic. By 31st October 2018, Senior External Counsel had concluded that the government would likely lose the judicial review. That assessment only worsened as the case progressed and prior contact between the investigating officer and the complainers emerged. The committee is also concerned that the First Minister decided to proceed with the judicial review despite clear advice that it would likely fail. Oh, come on. There's so many resigning issues, you could actually list them. Oh, look, there's wee Moby. Wee Moby in the Marxists. In the pocket of wee Nippy. Moby's in the pocket of Nippy. Moby in the watermelons. in the pocket of the lesbian intersectional feminist Marxist. Postmodernist Marxist. In wee Nippy's pocket with a red suit, a red Hillary Clinton suit, or Angelina Merkel. Oh, come on. The watermelons. Let's see what James Boy's saying. I share your stuff, James. Can't wait till you start sharing the Guerilla TV channel stuff. The green, the watermelons confirmed Nicola Sturgeon will survive no confidence vote. Hamilton has clearly concluded that the First Minister did not breach the ministerial code, so we will not support the vote of no confidence being pushed by the Tories. Oh, here we go. There's old Paul Hutchins, who was at the David Irving event. I wasn't at, and he wrote an article about me. Here we go. Scotland's top civil servant, Leslie Evans, in firing line as summoned inquiry blasts government failings. The Holyrood Committee made a number of criticisms of the fiasco that cost the taxpayer £600,000 from Torquil. What a great name. Torquil Crichton. Crichton. I hope I pronounced that right. Torquil. So that's just March the 23rd, 2021. And there's the lovely Leslie Evans, lovely haircut. Soon to be the ex-civil servant, Leslie Evans. Leslie Evans, the top civil servant in Scotland. Oh my God. Obviously, we're not selecting your ability anymore. Obviously, we're selecting on other arbitrary characteristics. He's a beta. Marxist Moby. Moby the Marxist. Moby and the watermelons. Want to go for a pint up the road? Want to go for a pint up the road, mate? Anytime you want to go for a pint, I'm not in Stonehouse just now, buddy, or I would definitely go for a drink, wee bud. No problem. If you ever catch me, just we'll go for a beer. If any of my baby gorillas wants to have a drink with me, it's no problem. She won't resign. We have to sack them. Ah, that's right. You've got the power. You ultimately have the power, unless they're like cheating. Like, I didn't realise this. That what's his name? Humza Useless. Humza Useless. Vote. So Humza Useless, the Islamofascist. More options. Save and exit. Humza Useless. So this is the Herald, 17th of March. Come on. Stupid advert. Oh, there we go. What's going on now? 17th of March. I don't know what year that is. Doesn't tell me the year. 17th of March. Scottish independence. Humza Useless warned about rigged polls. So another Pakistani person thinks that democracy in here is susceptible to rig it by Jody Harris. Scotland's Justice Secretary has been warned about rigged polls, which, with a cryptic message online after a fresh survey showed support for independence dropping in Scotland. Humza Useless took to Twitter following the release of Salvation poll for the pro-union group Scotland in Union, which found that the support for leaving the UK has dropped to 43%. The poll by the pro-union group Scottish Union. This is what I was looking for. Islamic linked radicals 2014. Most dangerous law ever, shambles. Quit politics after racism, so just racism, racism, racism. That's all. That's their only political message. Vote rigging, vote rigging. Let me see in Google. Um, so the SNP rocked by suspected vote rigging in the Scotsman 2010. Scottish National Party has been forced to take action to prevent what is suspected to be orchestrated attempt to rig the selection process that determines, well, they've already done it this time, which determines Holyrood, which of its candidates make it to Holyrood in the next parliamentary elections. Scotland on Sunday has learned the SNP bosses became suspicious after hundreds of new members, most of whom understood to have Asian surnames, suddenly joined the party in the West of Scotland region just in time to vote for their favourite candidate in this summer's battle for Holyrood selection. West of Scotland region is expected to be one of the SNP's toughest internal battlegrounds this summer, with a number of well-known candidates fighting for seats. Concerned that the SNP's internal selection process, which is based on the votes of ordinary members, which I think they've twisted on at this time, would be skewed unfairly by the unexpected influx of new members. The SNP National Executive Committee last week moved to exclude them from the process. Members of the NEC voted in favour of changing the deadline for voting eligibility in the region from the 20th of June to the 6th of June. So, barring any new members who joined after the latter date taking part in the ballot, NEC was alerted by the SNP group of Eastern Bartonshire after a sudden appearance of hundreds of new members. There was concern that a handful of individuals had appeared. I don't think that wasn't it either. So we obviously know that the postal votes have been postal votes tallying the elections. So Humza Yousaf vote rigging, delay to candidate. So there was something about, and I can't find it. There was something about Humza Yousaf's vote rigging, and I don't know if any of you guys can find it, but Humza Yousaf's vote rigging, and he was barred from becoming a candidate because he was meant to be rigging the elections before he became a candidate. So that was quite interesting as well. So let's go. Where are we here? So here we go. The committee report makes clear that multiple roles being fulfilled by the permanent secretary during the complaints process should have been seen as a risk. Evans is accused by the committee report of individual failings over the government's response to Salmon's judicial review. Labour MSP's Jackie Bailey, a member of the inquiry, said that the threat that runs through the rushed development of the harassment complaints and the flawed implementation of the handling of complaints is the permanent secretary. She was involved in every aspect of the procedure and must bear much of the responsibility. Set up in 2019, the committee has investigated SNP's mishandling of sexual misconduct complaints against Salmon when he was First Minister. Salmon pursued a judicial review, and it was agreed that the government probe, which destroyed his friendship with Sturgeon, had been unlawful and tainted by bias. Corrupt, let's say corrupt. It has also cost the taxpayer £600,000, at least minimum. The MSP's led committee has investigated all aspects of the fiasco, including the development of the procured used to probe Salmon, as the complaints were handled, and the judicial review. SNP turn on Holyrood committee investigations as Tory vote of confidence is dismissed as irrelevant. The theme that the civil service process let down the two complainants runs throughout the report. The committee found that more time taken over the drafting of the procedure would have allowed time to develop support guidance, which would have proved more. Because remember, they were trying to rush through this because they were trying to get salmon. They were trying to rush through the bill to actually allegedly to try and just get salmon, and they made a mess of actually drafting the legislation. So they weren't even competent at drafting a bill to actually try and get salmon. They proved incompetent at doing that as well. That's the civil service we've got just now. Obviously not getting selected in their ability. More time taken over drafting of the procedures would have allowed time to develop supporting guidance, which would have proved more support and information for those involved in the process, including complainers, those complaints about witnesses, as well as providing clarity for those charged with applying the procedures to investigation of complaints. When it came to handling the legal challenge for salmon, the committee criticised the head of the civil servants. The report states that the committee is conscious that the Permanent Secretary Office was identified as coordinating the supply of information from the Judicial Review, and the Permanent Secretary was one of the few people who had been aware of the prior contact of the investigating officer. It must be questioned why the Permanent Secretary, in her role, with her knowledge, did not ensure that the relevant information was extracted and processed at a much earlier stage. The individual failing is as significant as the general corporate failing already described. The MSPs concluded that the Scottish Government's handling of the document disclosure during the judicial review proceedings was seriously flawed, and it was this catastrophic failure to discuss documents and to allow statements to be made to the court that all documents had been disclosed when they had not been, that led to the warning of high legal costs. Committee members held 14 public evidence sessions questioning a range of witnesses, including Sturgeon, Salmon, and Evans, about the development of the complaints policy that was unlawful and the handling was used unlawfully in the handling of allegations. That's good, isn't it? That's very interesting. So what else we got? Judge. So this is what we need. So the Scotsman have, came round to my way of thinking, and I like it a lot. But I don't think John Swinney or Nicola Sturgeon should be appointing the judge. It should be appointed by somebody else, so that we actually get a proper judgment on it. It shouldn't be the SNP judging themselves, should it? What you get? What's my baby Guerilla saying? Pound Shop Democratic Party of Scotland will love to be rigged. Yeah, he had the sign of him saying "Little is too dear." I've seen SNP. You guys are too funny. Get on the Telegraph. Well, dude, the Telegraph's coming. What? Get on the Telegraph. Let's see what's happening in the Telegraph. Right, we're getting the Scotsman. Hold on. Alex Salmond inquiry. Nicola Sturgeon misled the committee as judicial review fiasco, labelled a serious, substantial, and entirely avoidable situation. The long-awaited report into the Scottish Government handling of harassment complaints against Alex Salmond has concluded that Nicola Sturgeon did mislead Parliament over the nature of a meeting with the former First Minister on April the 2nd, 2018. Let me read that again. Long-awaited report into the Scottish Government's handling of harassment complaints against Alex Salmond has concluded that Nicola Sturgeon did mislead Parliament over the nature of a meeting with former First Minister on the April the 2nd, 2018. Stop doing this day after month thing. By Conor Matchett, hope I'm pronouncing that right, Tuesday 23rd March 2021. That was. So what have we got here? Let's see. He seems like quite a good journalist as well, this fella. In a split decision with all SNP members of the committee dissenting, the Holyrood inquiry said the First Minister left Mr Salmon with the impression that she would intervene and that she had misled the committee on that matter. They added again in a split decision, partisan 4 MSNP go one way, 5 including Andy Whiteman went the other. They were not in a position to take a view on the details of the 29th of March 2018 meeting with Mr Salmon's former Chief of Staff, Jeff Aberdeen, but they said Mr Salmon's version of events was the more persuasive. So don't forget they were restricting Jeff Aberdeen's statement to the committee, the Aberdeen committee, because Nippy said it was implicating her telling porcupines. But said Mr Salmon's version of events was the more persuasive. The committee also found again in a split decision that it was inappropriate for the First Minister to keep meetings and speaking with Mr Salmon during the investigation of the complaints, and that she should have made the Permanent Secretary, Leslie Evans, who's going to have to resign, aware of these meetings at the earliest opportunity. The speed of development of the procedure was also found to potentially have had a detrimental impact on the procedures in terms of clarity and robustness. The inquiry also found the multiple roles of the Permanent Secretary should have been seen as a risk, no separation there again, and recommends a thorough review and the implementation of the demonstrable measures to minimise the risks of a leak of information ever happening again. On the judicial review, I'm getting this. I'm getting this mic for you guys. This is what I'm getting. Obviously throwing this up now. Where does that go? Hey, come back here. Come back. Getting that mic for you guys. That's what I do for you. Did I get it off this shop? Which is that? Oh, that's quite interesting. Right. So, here we go. On the judicial review, the committee finds that the Scottish Government was responsible for a serious, substantial and entirely avoidable situation, labelling the government's document handling seriously flawed, burning, shredding, redacting. Yeah, I would say it was seriously flawed. Directly led to the high level cost award to Alex Salmon. Miss Evans is also subject to significant criticism with her role in the failed defence of the judicial review, described as an individual failing as significant as the general corporate failing. Oh, this is damning. This is absolutely devastating. Committee convener Linda Fabinini said there were some extremely serious findings in the report detailing serious flaws. She said throughout this inquiry there has been speculation and rumour and the work around the work of our committee. I have always been clear that at the heart of this inquiry are two women who made complaints of sexual harassment. These women were badly let down by the Scottish Government, but they have also been let down by some members of our committee. I'm truly dismayed by the hurt some of the committee leaks will have caused them. I apologise to them unreservedly, although she didn't want to talk to the Guerilla TV channel. Unreservedly, this is not who we should be as a committee of this Parliament. Our inquiry was a chance to reflect on what went wrong with the Scottish Government's processes and ensure that the failing these women experienced never happened again. There are undoubtedly some extremely serious findings in our report, and it was clear to the committee that there were serious flaws made in the government's application of its own process. The government must address these to ensure anyone who experiences sexual harassment has the confidence to come forward. But what if they're making false allegations? We need to have a process for them to go to jail if they're making false allegations. Among the committee recommendations include a potential protocol between the Scottish Parliament and the Scottish Government on when legal advice will be made available to parliamentary committees, labelling the details with the provision of evidence as being unacceptable. The inquiry adds that it was significantly impacted by the failure of the Scottish Government to provide all relevant information quickly, given that there would be full cooperation with the inquiry, which again, Nippy didn't do. The report also criticises Mr. Salmon for sending documents directly to members of the committee, which include information that revealed the identities of complainers, labelling it very serious situation. I think we should all know who the complainers are now. It's also recommends a potential new parliamentary committee which examines the quality and standards of administration provided by the civil service in the Scottish Government on the decision to appoint Judith McKinnon as investigations officer. The key issue on which the judicial review was conceded, the committee said it was astonishing that the potential for challenge around the perception of impartiality was not identified by the civil service at this point. Unbelievably damning. Oh, come on. Criticising the Scottish Government's attitude to the committee, the report also concludes the Scottish Parliament may have insufficient powers to hold the executive to account, recommending the establishment of a commission to review relationships and make recommendations for changes. Yeah, they need parliamentary privilege in the Scottish Parliament. Speaking this morning, Miss Sturgeon said she would leave politics to others today. She said, "My thoughts today, 1 year on from the country going into lockdown, are with the almost 10,000 families across the country who have lost a loved one, and everybody who has made real painful sacrifices over the last year. My priority is to continue to take the decisions that help to get the country through this most difficult times." Reacting to the publication of the report, Jackie Baillie, the Scottish Labour member of the committee, said the inquiry has called into question Miss Sturgeon's judgment, highlighting an urgent need for reform to the complaints procedure. Miss Baillie and the Scottish Government continues to let down women. She said the determination to plough on with the defence of the judicial review was irresponsible. Miss Baillie said the report makes for sobering reading. Never in my 22 years in Parliament have I witnessed a report such as this, which details the catastrophic failings of the Scottish Government and Nippy on matters of the utmost seriousness and sensitivity. Despite the obstruction of the Scottish Government, the committee has managed to go beyond its veil of secrecy. We must never forget that at the heart of this matter are women, the women. Don't forget about the women who were failed by the Scottish Government. 3 years on, nobody has yet taken responsibility for this failure. The threat that runs through the rushed development of the harassment policy and the flawed implementation of the handling of complaints is the Permanent Secretary. She was involved in every aspect of the procedure and must bear much of the responsibility. We also believe that the First Minister has misled the committee about whether she should intervene following her meeting with Alex Salmond on the April the 2nd. So let me just read that again. We also believe the First Minister has misled the committee about whether she would intervene following her meeting with Alex Salmond on the 2nd of April, an act which is tantamount to misleading Parliament. Resign, Nicola Sturgeon. The Hamilton report has the report may have exonerated the First Minister of breaching the ministerial code, but the catastrophic and mirrored failings the committee inquiry has revealed have called into question her judgment that she doesn't have any. SNP members of the committee hit out at the conduct of the opposition members on the committee, stating their approach by some MSPs could have a chilling and counterproductive impact on protecting the best interests of the women, but nothing to do with the men. So men who are falsely accused, oh well, it's all full of women, the Parliament now, so we're just going to ignore what happens to false allegations to men. That's good. That's what obviously what this has been going forward. That is a matter, or false allegations to anybody. I would just say it doesn't have to be men. I keep getting that wrong. It should be false allegations to anybody. Whoever makes a false allegation should be going to jail. That the matter of the deepest regret, criticising the leaks of evidence from the two complainers, Alistair Allen, Maureen Watt, and Stuart McMillan, criticised opposition members for considering the women collateral damage in pursuit of political agendas. They added that last week we had the final unedifying outcome of amendments being brought forward and voted to be included as final conclusions based on prejudiced opinion with no evidential basis. In fact, the committee was trusted with the task of helping those who come forward with complaints of workplace abuse, but members of the committee abused that trust. Oh, unbelievable, isn't it, guys? Unbelievable. Let's get rid of that one. What have we got? Who else we got? There's a Scotsman. There's Georgie Porgy Galloway under death threats. That's not very nice. Nobody should be threatening anybody. And it's not nice to threaten people. Very nasty. There's Murdo Fraser. At the start of the whole inquiry process, Nicola Sturgeon said she would respect the outcome. Last week, her spokesperson was denouncing the committee findings to the Trump in a Trumpian style as a smear. She is picking and choosing which report to agree with, despite her early promises. There's Georgie Porgy Galloway. The SNP, what's this? Majority of the SNP framed salmon. That's quite an interesting one. I think I might get back to you later on in this, guys. Do you want me to do another live stream later on? What's going on? Will we break it up a bit? How long have we going for? An hour and a half? No, it's a horror show. George Galloway hat is a force field. We'd clean the streets with disinfectant anytime she walked on the Queen's Highway. The streets need brushed, filling Holy water. Butte House is demonic. I've got more stuff to go. The greatest socialist of our time. Huge yes. Beat us. Right, sports fans. Going to leave it there. I might do more later on. I'm driving up the Creef. Are you, buddy? Are you? Oh, that's good, mate. That's good. Listen, I love my baby gorillas. I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know if it's sounding better your side. I've been trying to muck about with the sound cards and all that. Once I get my new mic through, I'll be able to talk to you guys through the mic. Hello. And I've got other things I'm going to pick up just now. And we'll get the whole thing sorted out. It's going to be awesome. Yes, definitely. Don't go yet. Don't go yet. Oh, you guys missing me? Oh, you guys are too kind. I'm going to come back. I'll come back and do another stream later on, guys. You know I love you guys anyway. Aye, mate. My bird stays there. Oh, does she? Oh, very good, mate. Very good. Very good. That's nice up there. Right, I'm Wolffe. I might do another live stream for down at the Parliament if you play your cards right. Love my baby gorillas.